Hi, I'm Barry John, and welcome back to Let's Play Ratchet and Clank. I have one co-commentator today, and I'll let him introduce himself.
It's Leylite.
And unfortunately, Speedball isn't here, so he wasn't around to announce that we are visiting planet Rilgar today.
So I've only just managed to catch up with some of the earlier episodes of this. I played these games back in the day, but it has certainly been a long time for me, as I imagine it's been for a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I see that shark over there in the background. It's lurking.
Yep. If you're in the water for too long, the shark will hunt you down and will eat you.
Ah, classic video game shark.
Mm-hmm. And this is me just looking at my two objective markers and deciding which one to go for. So I'm just going to go for the one that leads to plot progress first. Oh, crap, crap, crap. Okay.
The timing on that is excellent. It gives you just enough time to dread the mistake you've made and still try and correct it.
Yeah. But really, you've got basically like 3 jumps worth of time frame in order to get out of the water or the shark gets you.
I like how in just the first few minutes of the video I already have like a good overview of what upgrades you've already gotten. It's really helping me acclimate to what point in the run you're at.
Mm-hmm. But to be fair, like there's not like this is a pre-upgrade game. Like you saw what weapons I had available, but it's more a case of like this game is before the upgrade system was implemented.
So it's a lot more about progression than it is about upgrades necessarily.
Yeah. But here comes the Hydro Displacer gimmick. So you weren't around for last video, but last video I picked up the water gun.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen this in like some of the later games. I forgot that it was in this one too.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was in this game that showed up in later games or wasn't in this game. But the Hydro Displacer, as you weren't around for last video, it lets you move up and down the water levels of where you're at, sort of like, you know, the water temple from Legend of Zelda, except you have more control over it.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot more intuitive than like press this lever and remember whether it raises or lowers the water level. It's a lot more intuitive that, you know, you're holding a water tank full of water. Whatever you put the water tank into, you're going to get more water into.
Mm-hmm. And it also helps that the game is designed around this. There's never a point where you can remove water from multiple spots at once. It's always a case of remove water, and then at some point you put the water back in, and there's no point where it's remove water, remove water.
Yeah, you're not going to be in a situation where, again, like, it makes sense to remove water from... Like, basically, they mapped out all the constraints ahead of time, basically. So you're at no risk of flooding the overworld.
Yeah. And for what's worth, I had to empty this out in order to knock out the that one grate in there, because at this point in the game and series, you can't really attack while you're underwater.
This makes sense. It's pretty hard to swing any, like, length of pipe underwater.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly don't think they did underwater combat in this engine ever.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that everybody's kind of analyzed this to a certain extent in prior videos, but one thing that I really loved about this game was the smooth movement. That's kind of been something that the developers have been experimenting on for a lot of their games up to this point, but I feel like they really did a good job refining that in this series.
Oh, this game is absolutely gorgeous in motion. Like, no argument at all. And it's so responsive as well.
The sound design is good, just there's a lot of subtle things that make it work.
Mm-hmm. Now here is the obligatory outrace the rising water problem. Because this is actually a sewer level.
Yeah, you couldn't really do something like this in the later games when he has the O2 mask, but, you know, again, it's just a design constraint sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, in later games, they'd probably just replace this with acid or something.
And this is
It provides that nice moment of tension where you're all like, you have a few more, you know, you feel like you can still keep going for a little while longer as far as that air meter holds out.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I realized I didn't quite make this run.
Yeah,
So,
I remember this one being really tight. I think I died here a lot of times trying to make this work.
oh yeah, I make it look easy at home, but even me now, having practiced and played this game for the LP, this is still not an easy run. And you'll see me do these hover leaps because it's the fastest.
You have to.
Yeah, because it's the fastest horizontal traversal.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of things that... Oh, wow, a side flip.
Trust me, unnecessary.
But that's the thing, like, no matter how much, you know, how many guns you've bought or how many, like, gold bolts you found, anything like that, this is really just a test of your movement skills, and that's all there is to it. You can't really cheat it out with anything.
No.
Okay, that looked a lot better there. You made it over that hill before the whole thing flooded. That was usually my benchmark.
Yeah, that is pretty much the benchmark for the game here, because at that point you can do this to skip that jump point and make it over here, where, yeah, this is the end part of the run, but if you've made it here, you're home free. But even then, it still is tight enough that it gives you just that little bit of beeping warning at the end, just to ratchet up the tension, pardon the pun.
It's good to see that even in the future, we're still using elevators as loading zones.
Well, I mean, aside from the elevators, like, this entire area is effectively, like, you know, one loaded zone. Because this game does disguise loading zones through use of the bolt cranks, for example.
Sure.
But hey,
Hey, press conference is over. Captain Quark don't want no more reporters bugging him in his
but we're not a reporter.
You see, my friend and I need to speak to the captain about a matter of galactic security.
You mean you and your walking camera? You paparazzi make me sick. Now beat it.
But, sir, I'm sure the Captain Quark will understand once we...
Now, save it. I know how it works. You convince me to let you in. You snap a picture of the captain in his underpants. Then you sell a picture to the info tabloid for $1 million bolts.
You've got it all wrong.
Meanwhile, I'm stuck here making 6 bolts an hour, and I have to listen to a lecture from that cheapskate Quark. So you don't get in unless I get a kickback. In advance.
4,000 bolts, and look, like, I didn't even have 20,000 at that point.
I think he had this all figured out.
It's Ratchet and Clank, Captain.
Yeah.
From the
Oh, yes, I know who you are.
You do?
Yes, and thank the galaxy you found me.
Huh?
There's an awful plot being hatched to destroy our planets.
Ratchet, he knows.
Great. Does that mean we can go hoverboarding now?
My friends, we're all in grave danger, and I believe that together we can put a stop to
I like the fact that I admit that this is a total spoiler zone, but I like the fact that he's still trying to talk Ratchet and Clank out of being a hero.
You are a true hero in the making.
Really?
But even then, like, you know, he's trying to talk them out of it, but he's still setting them up for the next level.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's all,
Obscurity while another becomes a hero. Is it strength, compassion, determination, or just pure blind luck? Wise men through the ages have struggled with that very question, but Captain Quark knows the secret. That's why he's been able to defeat more despots, rescue more damsels in distress, and save more civilizations than any other hero in the galaxy. Now is your opportunity to see if you've got the stuff heroes are made of. This infobot contains coordinates to Quark's secret base. Can you quickly conquer Quark's killer cannonade of confounded contraptions? Can you quickly Oh, just make your way through the defenses to the center of the base. Prove yourself, learn the secret, and earn your place in galactic history. Consult your doctor before attempting any strenuous exercise. Not responsible for death or dismemberment. Your results may vary.
Yeah, but he had that ready.
Meet me at my headquarters.
Hey, Captain Ratchet, what do you think?
I mean, you can tell that they just had a blast, voice acting all of this stuff. They really enjoyed working on this.
Oh, the guy who voiced Quark, he was so good at it, like, they had to bring him back for later games.
And, some of the metaphors are just on point. I mean, you're literally being taxied back to your ship.
Oh, yeah. But to be fair, like, the taxis are a common thing in this one, or in this game. Because there were taxis on Kerwan and Metropolis, and here as well. But, just me checking to see if that was destroyable boltable terrain. But now time to take the other path, because one of the things I think really got the strength of this game was even the level layout is very, I don't want to say linear, but the paths involved they don't really overlap. Like, when you go onto a path from your starting point, there's a definitive end point for it.
Yeah, like, you can it definitely wraps it up in a bow, letting you know that, okay, you definitely reached the end of this path. I do like the infrequent times when you can kind of see... Oops.
Yeah.
When you can kind of see the other path from where you're at to kind of give things a sense of place. Mm-hmm. But, like, there's always, like, how do I phrase this? Like, there's only a very limited number of branches. Like, you feel confident that you have explored everything, You don't have to feel like you don't have to feel obligated to go out of your way looking for branches that you feel like you might miss. Instead, you're rewarded for finding secret out-of-the-way branches instead.
Yeah. And, of course, near the end of the game, you're even given the full map upgrade.
Yeah, like the combination of the camera and the level design does an excellent job at keeping you on the main path if that's all you want to do.
Yeah. But there is reward for turning around and just looking. And of course, these guys, they like to split in half every time you hit them, up to, the second division where you're dealing with 4 little guys.
Yeah, it's just a joy having a video game flamethrower that has some actual range on it.
I mean, it's still an aerosol flamethrower, but... Ooh. Shooting gallery.
Perfect.
Oh, come on!
Oh.
What's the point of having explosive...
I mean, what do you expect? It was only one crate.
Yeah, true. One explosive... Oh, so here, I'll just provide my own explosions.
This game gets it, You're not taking any damage from those explosions at point blank.
No. But of course, here we can actually... Hold on, let me just step on that for a second. Oh, there we go. Releasing those guys, if you let them do their thing, they'll actually attack the Blarg, which is nice.
I imagine that we would have a lot more inflation at this economy if people were running around with pocket magnets that sucked up all the pennies off the street and into our pockets.
When we get, actually, the bolt collector we get near the end of the game that extends our collection range, I adore the fact that it's actually a physical object that changes Ratchet's model. Because it actually shows up on his belt.
That's impressive. I did not actually realize that.
Yeah, I have to double check my video, but I think I actually show it off when I get it. I mean, it's not a big thing. It's there, but it's actually a physical change in the model because he actually physically has it now.
I like that tower of TNT boxes actually exploded one by one in perfect sequence like that.
Oh, yeah.
They had to have tested that.
Yeah, like, there are things here that were done simply because they could. And here we have the Rilgar defense guys defending Rilgar from the Blarg invasion. Of course, I have no idea why they think I'm hostile.
Software bugs. You know, they make it to production every now and then. Mm-hmm. It's within the margin of error. These neural net training models.
Or it's a case of, you know, all the citizens are told, we've got exterminators on the street, don't be out on the streets, the exterminators can act, you know, with impunity. But Ratchet...
Yeah, lowest bidder model again.
But again, we were talking about how, you know, the camera can keep you on track, but you are rewarded for, you know, looking around, like those little side areas that are reached.
Exactly.
I wonder why this guy's standing out on the street.
Rhino for your robot. Trade you.
Well... I'm kidding. Sorry, he's not for sale. What's a rhino, anyway?
Rip you a new one.
And so begins the greatest overpowered weapon series in the history of shooter games.
A new one.
Why, that's the most powerful missile launcher in the galaxy. I know it's worth a lot of bolts. He must have stolen it from the blarg.
Stolen? Look, trash can. Did I say anything about it being hot? You better watch your mouth or I'll...
Wait, don't tell me. Rip you a new one.
150,000 bolts to buy it.
Just from a guy on the street, too.
Yeah. But I was
But
talking...
yeah, that sounded a little bit too good to be true. I mean, you know, one robot for something of that power.
Well, to be fair, what we learn about Clank in future games, in the future series itself, 150,000 bolts is way lowballing his value.
I mean, it must be pretty hard to find, you know, a buyer for that kind of thing. That's hard merchandise to move.
Mm-hmm. But even then, you know, like, this is a game where they knew it was short, relatively speaking. Like, you can complete this game in under 10 hours. I don't, because I abuse the, because I, you know, I left it on overnight so that I could do the, all the bolts glitch, or the infinite bolts glitch in the Rilgar race here later on. So I have a time frame of like 20 hours on this game. But
yeah, there you go. There's using a ranged weapon like a ranged weapon.
Yeah. Or I can get creative. Nope, give me a second here to get rid of that. But as I was saying, like, you know, this is a game that was meant to be played multiple times over and over, and each time you played the game, you'd acquire more bolts so that you'd eventually save up enough to get the Rhino. Or
I'm pretty sure you'll void the warranty on that thing if you suck up an exploding crate with that.
Well, it doesn't suck up crates, but it will suck up ammo, smaller enemies, bolts.
Yeah, perfect. Like, they're setting up perfectly for this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't even... The blast radius on that's pretty impressive, too.
Well, it's basically a rocket. It's the Devastator without, you know, that's reloadable. It gives you a chance to actually have a rocket-type weapon early in the game and not worry about the ammo for it.
Yeah, and yet it still makes encounters a little bit more of a puzzle because you have to actually identify what's appropriate to use as ammo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, Taunter's not working, not drawing people into the laser grids. Very disappointed. But I will be getting that gold bolt shortly.
Those lasers must be made of really hard light.
Yeah. Ooh.
It's also worth mentioning, at least, that the switch design is nice and simple here. Like, it really stands out.
Yeah. Like, it makes it clear what it is, and when you activate it, it goes from flashing to solid green.
And it makes a nice, a very distinctive sound. Like, I've seen this mistake happen so many times in these futuristic level sets where you're full of, like, these circular lights everywhere, and you can't tell, like, what's a switch and what's just decoration.
Oh god.
But there's no circular glowy bits on the ground besides switches here.
Yeah. You remember my Descent 3 LP, right?
Yes.
So you remember how I had that trouble ending the one level because I couldn't find a switch? The level on the space station, I couldn't find the switch that I was supposed to flick to begin the end level trigger.
Yes,
So,
I'm
like,
waiting for the latter half of this anecdote.
Oh, but like that wouldn't happen in this game because switches are so obvious. Because the Descent 3 had their switches in that level, trigger basically, to trigger like little communication blurbs or that sort of thing. You weren't taught the switch would activate progress. And that one's broken.
Yeah, precisely. So, like, they give you a few freebies here just to make sure to set up that association between here's something you press and, like, they're trying to guide you through it. Like, this laser section is supposed to be easy. It challenges you a little tiny bit with the enemies, but it's really just like a bridge section between the more involved sets of combat. Plus, then you get to do fun things like this, too.
Oh, yeah. Because you'll notice that the switch that would have led to the gold bolt was broken, so you have to, well, it's a dungeon bypass, to quote TV tropes.
Yeah, you get to think outside the box a little.
And the reward is a gold bolt.
It always felt a little bit weird to me that those things just disappeared in midair, but I guess Ratchet would look kind of ridiculous with having like 5 of those things dangling off of his tool belt.
Well, as I mentioned last video that you weren't here for, again, sorry, the game makes it, like, they do a lot of, we're just going to hide this from the player until it's needed, in terms of model work. Like, they don't bother...
Exactly.
Like, the guns, for example, they actually expand and contract when you select them or deselect them, like that, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Or the propellers coming out of Clank's little hatches there.
Mm-hmm. It only shows what's relevant, like, to the player, so they can see at a glance that Ratchet has the wrench out or Ratchet has the blaster.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of extends to further things beyond just, like, the models and whatnot. I mean, the HUD is... they probably measured in playtesting exactly how long these messages should be on screen for before they disappear. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like the bolt counter there doesn't stay on all that long. It gives you just enough time to realize, okay, I've got this many bolts after collecting some, and then it goes away because it doesn't matter.
Anyway, I at least appreciate that, even though they're reusing all the enemies here, of course, as per natural, they're doing a good job changing up the terrain. I mean, this is standard video game stuff, but they're doing a good job executing it, is I guess what I'm trying to get at here.
Yeah, like, as I mentioned, I agree, like I mentioned before, like, this is a general sci-fi city, but it's also where we have a sewer level, and it doesn't feel like a super level, or a sewer level to it.
Clark's giving away a brand new platinum zoomerator to the winner of this competition.
A platinum zoomerator. Perhaps that will be the proof of your accomplishments that Skid's agent requires.
Wait, do you guys mean Skid McMarks?
Yeah, Skid couldn't make it, so we're here to, fill in for him.
Guess we'll see about that.
So this is the first hoverboard race. I've cut out a couple of... Ow. Actually, I think I lose this first one just to demonstrate how hard it can be, but... So the race here is interesting, to say the least. You can see...
I'm glad this is a super-powered hoverboard that lets you just crash through these crates.
Yeah.
The regular ones, anyway.
And collecting bolts in the process. But the language of the game gives you a good idea of how it works, even if you're not reading the instruction manual. Like, you can tell... Like, these arrows.
Yeah, like, you have enough room to dodge those slime enemies if you want to, but if you hit one by accident, then it's a pleasure, it's a good surprise.
Yeah. because the blarg on the track don't actually hurt you or slow you down. They're just a splat. Oh. And of course, taking damage doesn't kill you, it just slows you down.
Really got to stick that landing, huh?
Yeah. So this is me horribly playing the game. Horribly losing. But when I come back here for the completionist run, yeah, I'm going to have to master this level to get the time limit achievement. Or
yeah,
the
I
skill
get
point.
the impression that you're not going to be able to strafe for free, but like you definitely want to turn as little as possible, or like maintain a good racing line.
Well, not just that, but you have to realize that this is still like you're not limited to the track. There are points on this track where you can literally cut a corner off, and you'll need to do that in order to come underneath the skill point time requirement. Like you'll see.
So what about the other racers? Like, do they tend to shove you around, or?
Yeah, there's still physical objects on the map. They will shove you around when they when they encounter you, but at this point I'm so far behind they're irrelevant to me because I'm not going to win this at all.
It is a little bit it does look a little bit herky-jerky that you just kind of respawn in midair without any kind of an animation for it, but well, you know, time permits, you know, we're clearly working on other stuff for this game.
Mm-hmm. Like,
and,
I think
I guess they didn't want to mess with what works.
Yeah, I think like the hoverboard races was not fully fleshed out because there's only the 2 races in the game.
Oh. And yeah, certainly just like making them reappear in midair means that you don't have to contextualize your animations or worry about like any kind of clipping, like if Lakitu rescues you from the drink.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, I'm like, this race isn't actually required to complete the game. There's only one race that's required to complete the game, and that's later on. But completing this game gives you the Zoomerator, which makes it much easier to finish off the second race. But this is still nowhere near the fastest time you can do for this race course, even though I'm way in first. But I actually found on my controller here, it's a lot easier to control the race if I'm using the D-pad rather than the control stick to control Ratchet's movement.
Is that because it makes it like, are you just more comfortable with tapping the directional arrow pads a little bit compared to having to mess with the
Hi, folks. Captain Quark.
fuzziness of the analog stick?
Yeah, it's a little less jerky as well because when I'm using the D-pad, when I'm using the joystick there, it's still like just the 2-step progression for turn and hard turn, but it's easier to know where I'm at with the D-pad rather than with the joystick.
More lift, speed, and maneuverability than any other anti-grav device on the market. Well, folks, that's all the time we have. Tonight, remember to set your infobots to the Quark Classic channel for tonight's episode of Dogfight Over Death Canyon, starring yours truly. Thank you, and have a Quark-tastic day.
The guy was literally on the other side of a couple of doors. There was no reason for him to be doing this as a video. Well, in-universe, but we know that the real outside the universe is to have the separate objective point to catch up with Quark directly so he gives you the infobot. But I have the Zoomerator, so I think I'm just going to make a quick little pit stop before I end the video here. Just something for a couple more minutes. Because I have mentioned in this game that there is a bit of backtracking, and I just want to show you an example of some of the short backtracking that you can wind up doing in this game. So
Just setting something up for next time.
not quite. Well, yeah, actually, I am. Because you see how it says I still have to bring the prize to the agent on Iridia. But now that I have the prize, going to make a quick trip to Iridia.
I guess having those kinds of items on the checklist can be an incentive to encourage you to explore a planet a little bit more. Like, oh, I'm already on this planet. Oh, I'm already going down this other path. I might as well take a look around while I'm here.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, I came here first to get the hoverboard. I came here a second time after I grabbed the swing shot to get the trespasser. And this is my third visit to it, but I've still got one more visit to go after I get the frigging mag boots.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that... Again, it's hard to get that balance just right.
Yeah, but to be fair, like...
At least you had a shortcut right here.
Exactly. So he gives us the... Oh. So
oh boy, some junk that was in the ship.
It is used to
no, well, I mentioned in a previous video that these little sand mice are the precursors to Mr. Zircon.
To finalize the paperwork, I'll have my people call your people.
Do you have people?
But,
The sonic summoner allows you to interact with the mysterious and intelligent sand mice species. Despite their innocent appearance, sand mice are very...
And you can see here some alpha footage.
Simply equip the sonic summoner when you are near a sand mouse house, and a mouse will emerge to greet you. If the mouse likes you, it may offer a bit of high-caliber tactical assistance.
There's not...
I don't think that agent is coming back.
No. But the sand mouse summoner works only on those specific sand mouse homes, and only while you're wearing the helmet. So if you summon a sand mouse and then you say jump in the water with the O2 mask on, the O2 mask takes priority and you lose the sand mouse.
Yeah, I get the impression this is basically just like an optional bonus, of course, but like a little bit of combat assistance that's like something that you can kind of awe over the spectacle of, but otherwise doesn't really impact the gameplay that much in the grand scheme of things.
No, it doesn't. But I'll see you all next time when we go visit Quark himself.